So, Democratic candidate for mayor in New York City, Zohran Mamdani, has responded to Donald Trump's threat of arresting him. I did a video here on the channel talking about that, and I played the clip where Trump said that he would just have to arrest Mamdani because we can't have a communist in this country. Mamdani is not a communist at all, but that's what Donald Trump is going to label him, and he's going to throw as much bigotry and racism and Islamophobia at the wall as he possibly can, because he truly, deep down, I believe, is afraid of the momentum that someone like a Mamdani is gaining. And I truly do believe that the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and Steve Bannons of the world are afraid of it, because I've covered here on the channel how they're even giving the dude props because they realize he's connecting, and they're losing. And they're losing because Donald Trump is now breaking all of his promises. But Mamdani responded to it, and I just thought it was classic. And so this is kind of a follow-up on the previous video. His response was absolutely epic. Take a look.
Donald Trump said that I should be arrested. He said that I should be deported. He said that I should be denaturalized. And he said those things about me, someone who stands to be the first immigrant mayor of this city in generations, someone who would also be the first Muslim and the first South Asian mayor in this city's history. Less so because of who I am, because of where I come from, because of how I look or how I speak, and more so because he wants to distract from what I fight for. I fight for working people. I fight for the very people that have been priced out of this city, and I fight for the same people that he said he was fighting for. This is the same president who ran on a campaign of cheaper groceries, who ran on a campaign about easing a suffocating cost of living crisis. And ultimately, it is easier for him to fan the flames of division than to acknowledge the ways in which he has betrayed those working class Americans, not just in this city, but across this country, and the ways in which he continues to betray them. Because we know that he would rather speak about me than speak about the legislation that he is shepherding through Washington, D.C. Legislation that will quite literally take health care away from Americans. Legislation that will steal food from the hungry. Legislation that looks to build upon one of the largest transfers of wealth we've seen in recent history in his first administration, and do it once again for the very Americans who already have enough. We should be fighting for those that do not have what they need to live a dignified life. That is what I will do, and I am thankful to have the protection and to have the support of so many New Yorkers who have stood up and said how unacceptable this is, including our governor, including members of the labor movement. And ultimately, what I fear for is that if this is what Donald Trump and his administration feel comfortable about saying about the Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City, imagine what they feel comfortable saying and doing about immigrants whose names they don't even know.
You know, folks, I got to be honest, watching that clip actually kind of stirred up a lot of emotions in me, because as I watched him defend himself, I was reminded of Barack Obama. For 8 years, we saw Obama go out there, and he was always just a masterclass. He always went out there so well-spoken, so calm, so cool, so collected. He always kept his composure, and he never lashed out. And there were so many times that I would say to myself, I don't know how he keeps his composure. I don't know how he don't start just swinging for the fences. I don't know how he don't just start cussing. But he never did. He maintained his composure always, and he stood there as they hurled insults at him and his birth certificate and his citizenship and his wife and his daughters and everything to do with him. They threw every insult and every bit of racism, every bit of bigotry, and every bit of Islamophobia at him as they possibly could sling. And he stood there the entire time and took it and just kept coming back in a respectful tone. And that's the kind of vibe that I got when I watched Mamdani responding to this. And it just goes to show that someone like an Obama or a Mamdani they have to completely They have to come at something from a completely different angle. They can't come at it from the same angle that a Donald Trump can. They can't necessarily get down in the mud and sling the way that he does, because they're already under a microscope and they're already being criticized for doing everything the right way, for presenting themselves in the best manner. They're already being mocked and ridiculed. So if they did really get down and swing and throw the verbal insults back that we would like to see them throw, then they would get dragged even harder by the racist people like Trump and all the ones that just wants to sit and spew their hatred. So as I was sitting there watching that, I did definitely get a lot of Obama vibes from it. But I love how that Mamdani just brought it right back to the point, which is, hey, the reason why Donald Trump is doing this is because he's trying to distract. He wants to take people's mind off the idea that he's breaking his promises, that he's not going to bat for them, that they're going to lose their health care. We've already seen the jobs report. They lost jobs when they thought they were going to gain them. By the way, Joe Biden had constant job growth the entire time that he was in there. Trump hasn't. We're already seeing Trump break those campaign promises. And rather than talk about, hey, I'm not being able to fix what I said I was going to fix, then the only thing he can do is just sit here and call this dude a communist and throw his insults and throw his racism and throw his bigotry at him and hope that that sticks with MAGA. And I've said a lot of times that I think what will happen as time goes on is the more people starts to suffer under Trump's presidency, the more they're going to start to look at someone like a Mamdani and say, you know what, this guy at least is fighting for me. But Donald Trump sure as hell ain't. He's not fighting for anybody other than himself. And when Mamdani said, he's distracting from the fact that, he's no longer representing the people he said he was going to represent, I would argue this: Donald Trump never really said what he was going to do to fix anything. He just pointed to what he thought the problem was. And he found a way to blame the problems on other people, to somehow pit people against each other and just sow a lot of division. He made a lot of big promises, don't get me wrong. Oh, yeah, I'll bring down groceries on day one. I'll bring down inflation. I'll bring down gas. I'll end the war in Ukraine as president-elect. He wasn't able to do any of that. He made a lot of bold claims, but when he talked about it, he never talked about it from the angle of this is how I'm going to fix it or this is how we're going to work together. He talked about who caused it and who for you to be mad at. So he just sowed more division amongst people. That's truly all that he ever did, and it's all that he's capable of doing. Because like I've always said, if he ever actually unified people and he ever actually done his job and made things better, then he wouldn't have a platform. But I knew that when Mamdani responded to that, I knew that it would be a masterful response. I knew he would come with class. I knew he would come, eloquent. I knew he would speak, the way that he spoke. I knew he wasn't going to get in there and swing and throw a bunch of insults at Trump. But he brought the truth, folks. He just brought the truth and gave a truthful response. And I think more and more people are going to start waking up to just what a liar Donald Trump truly is. We've all known he was a liar the entire time. But like I said before in previous videos, they felt like it got stolen from him back in 2020. They felt like he didn't get a chance to finish it. And we stopped him in his tracks back then because we realized just how bad he was and what a disaster it was. But then, people just thought, oh, if you give him one more chance, I believe he could do it. I believe he could have made it great again. But he's not. And more people are going to suffer, especially if this bill becomes law. More and more people are going to suffer. More and more people are going to feel it. And they're going to start to look around and say, you know what? I don't care what color this dude is. I don't care what religion this dude is. This guy over here has my best interest at heart, and Donald Trump lied to me. And when people actually start coming out and saying that, then I think you're going to see the pendulum start swinging. And I truly believe that it will, and I think we're starting to see it happen right now. I know right now, folks, it feels really hopeless. I know when you see, things like Alligator Alcatraz, you see all these disgusting posts that people like Laura Loomer is making about that. When you see all that disgusting stuff and you see how hard they're muddying the water and flooding the zone, it's real easy to just lose all hope and all faith. I understand that it is. But when you see someone like a Mamdani gaining momentum, and when you see someone like a Gavin Newsom coming out swinging again, I'm really glad to see him back swinging again and trolling Trump back. He can get away with it. When you see someone like an Andy Bashir just staying strong on the issues and staying true to himself, that should give you hope that there's people out there that are still willing to go to bat and swing for you. And you may not always agree with those people. You may not always see eye to eye with those people. There may be things that you have strong disagreements with them on, and that's okay because we're not in the cult. But folks, we are up against one of the most dangerous ideologies that ever come along in American history. It's called MAGA. Donald Trump is in charge. He's got the Supreme Court in his back pocket. He's got the Senate. He's got the House. He's got a cabinet full of clowns that is pushing his authoritarian agenda, unlike anything we've ever seen before. So if you look over at the Mamdanis of the world or the Newsoms of the world or the Bashirs of the world, you go, well, I don't like this one particular thing I heard him say about that. Whatever that thing is, ask yourself, how would Donald Trump do it better than that person would do it? Because everything that Donald Trump has ever touched turned to shit. It truly has. And so I thought that was an epic response from Mamdani, and I'm glad that he came out and just kept everyone's eye on the ball. How many times leading up to the election I say, folks, keep your eye on the ball? And that's pretty much what Mamdani did with that response. It was like, okay, you want to come at me with that? You want to throw all those insults at me? Well, you're doing that because you're distracting from the fact that you're breaking your promises. You're distracting from the fact that you're not going to bat for the people you said you would be going to bat for. He just brought the truth right home. And that's what we need more of these days.